That day was a stark reminder that we're not immune, have just as much vulnerability to that as anyone. And that day it came crashing home. It in fact was a deliberate act of domestic terrorism, which in 1995 is something we couldn't fathom, something we couldn't really wrap our heads around.
I knew that it was pretty serious. And so I reached out to my National Guard unit, which was in Stillwater at the time, and I got a hold of my NCO, my non-commissioned officer, and he said, yeah, I think we're going to need you. And said, grab my gear, meet us down at Stillwater. And so that was kind of my first part of the journey of reacting to the bombing.
I was in 3rd grade, Choctaw Elementary. Felt the tremor. Teachers came in, they said, oh, there's been an explosion downtown. 20 minutes later, they roll the TV in, they show us the video of the Murrah bombing, and then that's where it really hit. And then I understood my world was bigger than Choctaw downtown.
It was unlike any response I've had before or after that time in Oklahoma. To get there and just see that with my own eyes, the scale of it was just something that is still a hard picture to put behind you.
I thought we were a good dedicated force back then, but I look at it now and we are at such a higher level than we were back then. The environment's changed, and unfortunately, and it takes tragedy to change sometimes. And so when we go through these changes, it's doing nothing but increasing and getting better at what we do. And so I look at how we were developed back then and the events that had us doing that type of operation to where we are now. The level of training that we put into it now is by far surpasses anything we did back then.
We are Oklahomans helping Oklahomans. We're always ready. We're ready to get out the door as soon as you need us.
We serve our communities. The National Guard Reaction Force is an example. We have 2 elements of that. One's in northeast Oklahoma in the Tulsa area, and one's in central Oklahoma in the Oklahoma City area. When there's a call, whether it's one of those 2 entities or one of our other units that we have armories throughout the state, a lot of times there's relationships that exist between those soldiers in that community that they're serving.
It's a tragedy that you have to live through these things, but then there's a certain amount of respect for what the world is capable of doing, and so yeah, that definitely drives who I am every day. Any way I can to impart on the younger generation what that means and for readiness. That's anything I can do to just get that message home to them.
Oklahoma gets it all, you know, from fires to floods to ice storms to tornadoes to earthquakes. So we have to be able to respond to that as well. And so it's morphed over time in the last 35 years that I've been in the National Guard to a dedicated National Guard ready force. And I think that's where we've grown, is with each incident, whether it be a Oklahoma City bombing or whether it be a Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans or whether it be a 9/11, it's always a step, and we don't get complacent. We learn from our steps that we take, what works, what doesn't work, how do we tie this into the next event when it does happen. And we keep that in the back of our minds as we continue to move forward. And so as long as we continue to do that, we'll be successful and we'll keep going in the right direction.
If Oklahoma calls us, we're there, as we should be.
We're always thinking about what happened in the past, and we're always making those corrections. And we're always changing our standard operating procedures on how we make those work, so that if it does happen in the future, or if something like it happens in the future, we know how to react.